Hello everyone, this is Jay and welcome to this YouTube video of Radius Server Wireless Authentication with Windows Server 2016. In this series, we will be configuring a domain controller and testing it. After that, we will install Active Directory and certificate services along with network policy server. Apart from this, I will show you settings of my home wireless modem, and you can use any other wireless router or modem which can support WPA or WPA2 Enterprise Security. I will be making some changes to my home wireless router, so please check your user manual if you're not able to find these settings on your actually home router or wireless modem. So level of this video series, I would say this course is an intermediate level course, so I expect you to know a little bit about wireless router modem settings so that you can go back to your wireless router or modem and change some or tweak some settings. Basics of Windows Server 2016 installation. Apart from these requirements, you need home wireless modem or router with WPA2 Enterprise Security, Windows Server 2016 Datacentre desktop experience installed on your Windows or in Hyper-V, or actually installed on a server, Windows computer with Wi-Fi, so we can test our setup. So now let's have a quick look at the network diagram that we have. So we have this Windows Server 2016, and then it's going to be a domain controller. We will be having a DHCP server on it, and Active Directory certificate authority configured, NPAS Radius server configured, and I'm going to name it test.local. So the IP address of this is going to be 192.168.10.2, and it's connected to a switch here. And then there's a wireless modem is connected to the same switch, and then I've got this laptop here which has Wi-Fi on it. I'm gonna name it test-pc01, and this one will be connected to Windows Server 2016 domain controller. And after that, I will connect this test-pc to wireless modem, and with the help of Radius Server Authentication, it is going to access all the resources from the server, and it is going to access internet as well through this wireless, and with the help of Radius Server Authentication. Alright, so let's get started. So I've logged into Windows Server 2016 with the local administrator account, and now if I click on local server, I have changed the name as well of this server. I have renamed it to test-cert. Apart from that, I also with IPv4 address, it was DHCP by default, so I have changed it to static IP address. So let's have a look on that. It's still loading at the moment. Here we go. So now we can see Ethernet and 192.168.10.2. If I click on that, it's going to open another window where we can see actually the IP address has been changed from DHCP to a static IP address. Alright, here we are. If I double click on the Ethernet adapter and properties and IPv4 properties, it will show me that the IP address was changed from DHCP to static IP address. Here we are. So the IP address that I have changed, 10.2, I kept the subnet mask default, and default gateway is my default gateway from where I'm getting internet at the moment, 10.10, and the preferred DNS, I named this one as a DNS, and DNS server, the actual DNS server after that. So I'm going to close this for now, and let's click on manage, and we're going to add roles and features. We can skip this one by default, click next. So what we're going to install now, click next, we're going to install onto this server, next, and the option that we are going to pick is Active Directory Domain Services. So these are the whole bunch of tools that it's offering us. We're going to add these tools as well. Apart from this, we will pick DHCP server and DNS server. Alright, so we will click next. So we don't need any extra features, and we're keeping everything default. Next, it's the confirmation. I usually check the restart option and install. So it will take like few minutes, and I will be back once this is done. Alright, good news, installation has succeeded. So we will close that, and then on the triangle we're gonna click on the triangle, and then we will click on promote this server to a domain controller. A new window is gonna come up. Here we are, and then we're gonna add a new forest, and then we're gonna name it test dot local. Alright, and then click next. So here I'm really happy with the default options, and I will enter a new password here, and then we click next. So DNS options, we can't create the DNS delegation at the moment, but that's not a problem, so we can ignore that. And NetBIOS name, it will pick a NetBIOS name on the basis of the domain name. There you are. So next, and we are keeping everything default now. And next, these are the warnings that it is showing, so which is fine. So press click install. Alright folks, I paused the video, and it actually signed me out. And once it signs you out after the installation of domain controller, and then you sign back in with your administrator account, and now server manager is up. And the next step I will do is I will configure DHCP on the server. To configure DHCP, if you click on the that yellow triangle, and then click on complete DHCP configuration, and after that click next and authorize the server. So use the following credentials. It's using administrator account, then commit, so it has authorized as a DHCP server, and click on tools and click on DHCP. So we are going to create a new DHCP pool in IPv4. Right, so extend that IPv4, click right click, and new scope, and I'm going to name it test clients. Next, and start IP address is 10.50, and end IP address is 192.168.10.200, and click next. And exclusions, up to you if you want to add some. And then I'm happy with that. Yes, I want to configure these options now, please. And default gateway for me is 10.10. I will add this next, and here is DNS server, which is already added. This is a domain controller, but I would like to add another DNS, and I will add it. But just make sure the domain controller DNS has to be at the top. Enter next. Win servers, I don't have any Win servers. Yes, I want to activate this scope now. Next, finish. So scope is activated. So now we're going to test our DHCP server if it's working or not with another Windows 10 computer. Alright, so if you look at the IPv4 scope, and then server extend the scope, and in address lists, you will find any device which is connected to the network. At the moment I have connected one computer, and it has picked up that computer. So let's test our domain controller. I will connect to this computer, which is Win 10, I guess. Yep, Win 10. So I will connect to this device, and then I will add it to my domain. So what we do is, so let's open Active Directory, users and computers, and let's create some organizational units and groups, and one user and one computer. So in here, let's extend this, and click at the top, test.local, right click, and new. We will create organizational unit, and I will name it test computers. And the next one, I'm going to name new organizational unit test users, and there's going to be another one, new organizational unit test groups. Click OK. In computers, I will create a new computer. New computer, I will name it test-PC01. OK, and users, I'm going to, with the users, I am going to copy one user from the built-in users. It's going to be administrator. So copy and name it test, logon name as well, test, and next. So it cannot be changed, so just password for it, next, finish. And then I will move this user to the test users. Yes, in the test groups I will create a new group, call it let's call it WLAN users. Okay, and this user, add to a group, I will add to WLAN users. Okay, so this part is done. So I will connect to this computer now, and then alright, I have logged on to 10.50. So let's test few things. Open command line. So in command line, ping test.local. So it will make sure that our DNS is working. So when we pinging test.local, it's resolving our IP address to 10.2. All right. So if we check the IP as well, so our Ethernet adapter IP, it's getting from test.local, and IPv4 is 10.50, and all this information is coming from our DHCP server. So which means our Active Directory domain controller, DHCP and DNS, everything is working fine. So we can connect this computer to domain as well. So change settings, and then here let's call it test-pc01 and domain, which is test.local. Okay, so now it's gonna prompt for the username and password. So administrator, and then enter password. So this is going to our domain machine as well. From this machine we're going to access our Wi-Fi. Restart it. Alright, now let's have a look at the wireless modem settings, and so that you can tweak these settings accordingly. If these settings are not similar, so please check the user manual of that wireless router or modem. So now I have plugged in. Let's have a look in our DHCP, what IP it has got. It has got 10.51. So I like to do a few things. Also, what I would like to do is I would like to make it add to reservation list. So this has been added to reservation, so the IP address will never change. So we don't want this IP address to be changed. So because we have to enter the client IP address in our next step. And now, so as soon as I have added it to the reservation list, and the next thing I can do it, I can add it in the DNS list as well. So let's open our DNS, and then what we do is in DNS, open the tree, extended, and in forward lookup zone click on test.local, or the name that you have picked up for your domain controller. Right click here and then add new host, and then name it I'm gonna name it accordingly because it's TDW8980, I think. Will confirm in my DHCP TD-W8980, TD-W8980 IP address that we have is 192.168.10.51, and then click on add host. So this host has been added here. Done. So we have client, IP address, and the name. So minimize that. I'm connecting to my client that I have added, the other computer, test-pc01, and then open Edge or any other browser that you like, and I would like to go to 192.168.10.51. The reason why I could browse to that address, let's have a look. The reason being, I'll show you why I could browse to that address. Because I logged into my router, my wireless router modem before, and I have tweaked some settings here. So in system tools, and here I have got manage control. Okay, here I have tweaked one settings, which is I clicked on remote, so I can control remotely. So if I look at the status, and it has got 192.168.10.51 IP address. Alright, so apart from that, what you have to do is I will click on wireless 2.4 gigahertz, and I'm going to change some settings here. Okay, and I read the user manual, because in user manual it asked me to disable WPA settings, so I have disabled that, and which makes me to enable WPA2 Enterprise Authentication enable. Otherwise I couldn't enable it before. So please read your user manual. And now let's click on wireless security, and here I'm going to make some changes. So this is the IP address I have already entered, so just make sure that you have the right radius server IP, which I have got 10.2, and the radius server password. So this password we are going to enter onto our server soon, and then that's about it. So radius server port, so we are keeping it default because we are not going to change that port on radius server. But if you're changing your port on radius server, so just make sure you enter that same port here so it can talk to radius server. So just save these settings, and let's go back, and then we're going to install certificate authority role onto Windows Server 2016. So I'm back to Windows Server 2016, which is our domain controller. Click on tools, not tools, click on manage, and add roles, and here next, and we're picking first one, Active Directory certificate services, and then click next. So we don't need any extra features. Click next, and certificate authority, next, restart the server, but I'm very sure that it's not gonna restart, just install. So I will be back once this is done. Okay, so now click on this yellow triangle, and then click on configure Active Directory certificate services. Okay, and it's picking up these credentials. I'm happy with that. Next, click on certificate authority, and then click next. Setup type enterprise, click next, and root CA, click next. Oops, I just hit the microphone. And create a new private key, click next. We'll be picking SHA1, and rest I'm keeping the default. Click next. CA name, I'm gonna get rid of this thing here, so we don't have that there. And then click next. Validity period 5 years. Very happy with that. We can increase it if you want. Certificate database, I'm keeping it at default as well. So this is the changes that we're making. Configure, and it's going to configure soon. And all right, this is done, so close. And the next step is we will be requesting a certificate, and we will install that certificate onto the domain controller. To do that, in command line, Windows R, and then go to MMC, click OK, and file, add snap-in. So the snap-in we will be adding is certificates, add for local computer. Finish. Okay, so you can save it as well. Click on personal certificates, and then request new certificate. Click next. So next, and then domain controller, enroll, done, finish. So we will see another certificate here till 10th of 2nd 2019. So that's client authentication certificate. Okay, so now we're going to add another role, manage, add roles and features, Next role is going to be on this local computer will be network policy and access services. All right, so we have added all this and click next, and we don't need any extra bit. Click next, and restart. It's not going to restart, but I've clicked it anyway. So install. This will be quick as well. So once this is done, I will be back. Okay, so role is successfully installed, and click on close, tools, network policy server, and it's going to open new window for us to configure. Select radius server for 802.x.x, 802.1x, and then configure 802.1x, and we will like to configure it for secure wireless connections. All right, I'm keeping the name default. Click next, add radius client. So here we're going to add our radius client. As you know, that friendly name, I would like to pick TD-W8980. So that's the name that we have added in DNS as well. So I will copy that and I paste it here. Okay, as you know that we have added this in our DNS system as well. So if you go to CMD and ping TD-W8980, so it's resolving the IP address. Okay, because we have manually added in our DNS. So I'm going to minimize that and let's verify this resolve. So this is resolving the IP address. Okay. All right, so before you click OK, so we need a shared secret. So make sure this shared secret it matches to the shared secret that we have entered onto the wireless modem. Click OK, next, and I will like to pick Microsoft Protected PEAP. If we click on configure, it has already picked up certificate. So that certificate expiring in 2019. It's the same certificate that we have, the certificate that we requested. Okay. And then next, user groups. Which user group you would like to add? I would like to add WLAN users. Okay. So that group has the test user that we have created. Okay. Next, and done. If you look at previous, we don't have to do any configuration here. Okay, next and finish. So now our radius server is up and running as well. So it's time to test our connection. So I'm going back to my laptop. All right, so now, so it's TP-Link 2.4 gigahertz. So that's wireless 2.4 gigahertz TP-Link. I would like to select that and connect. So it will prompt me for username and password. So that username and password is the test user. And enter the password. Click OK. So we are getting that certificate. Let's have a look at the details. Okay, this server thumbprint ends with E7081B. Connect. There you go, up and running and connected. So we had a look at that certificate thumbprint, and if we go back to our server and let's have a look at the certificate. File, add, remove, snap in, certificates, add, computer, next, local computer, finish, and click OK. So here we have in personal, we have that certificate which is expiring in 2019, and if you double click on that and you click on details, and in here if you scroll down nearly to the bottom and you check the thumbprint, ends with E7OD1B. So this has given that certificate, and it has authenticated with the help of certificate and with our user that we created earlier, test user. Alright, now we're going to test on a smartphone. So I have my iPhone on me and I'm going to connect it, and let's see how it goes. Connecting my phone, TP-Link 2.4 GHz, typing my username, which is test.local, and I'm going to type in my password as well. And now if I'm going to hit on join, so it's going to prompt for the certificate. If we check the details of the certificate, at the bottom of the certificate we can see the thumbprint of the certificate, which is matching with our server certificate. So it's all good. So it is connected as well. Okay, it is connected. Let's test the connectivity. If I browse to 192.168.10.51, let's see what happens. Okay, so there you go. As you can see the login screen of the wireless network router. And also if I browse to td-w8980.test.local, so that's a DNS name that we have entered earlier, as you can remember. So let's type me in HTTP. So here you go. So there you go. So it's all working and functional now. Alright, so that's all for today. If you have any questions, please ask and I'm more than happy to help. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you guys.